You wake up early, you make the list, you cross things off, you feel productive for about 40 minutes. Then by noon, you're sitting there wondering why nothing actually feels different. Last Tuesday, you reorganized your entire workflow. The week before that, you committed to a new system. 3 months ago, you told yourself this would be the year everything finally clicks into place. You're doing more than you've ever done. Reading more, planning more, executing more. You fall asleep exhausted, convinced that tomorrow's version of you will finally see the breakthrough. Except tomorrow comes and you're back at the starting line. Different tasks, same feeling. Different goals, same stagnation. So why does it feel like you're back at the start every single day, no matter how hard you try? Most people would call this a discipline problem. They'd tell you to push harder, wake up earlier, cut out distractions. They'd hand you another framework, another morning routine, another motivational quote about consistency. But watch what happens when someone genuinely tries harder. They sink deeper. The more they move, the tighter the grip becomes. Effort stops being the solution and becomes the very thing keeping them locked in place. Your brain has found a way to make you feel productive while ensuring nothing fundamental ever changes. It's not sabotage. It's not weakness. It's something far more calculated than that. And the worst part? You've been rewarding it this entire time without even knowing. There's a name for what's happening to you, and once you see the mechanism, you'll recognize it everywhere. This isn't another video about motivation. I'm not going to tell you to wake up at 5 a.m., journal for 20 minutes, or visualize your dream life. You've probably already tried that. Maybe it worked for a week. Maybe it felt good in the moment. But if you're watching this, something deeper is happening. You're stuck, but not in the way people usually talk about being stuck. You're not sitting on your couch doing nothing. You're not scrolling for hours pretending tomorrow will be different. You're actually putting in work, real work, the kind that leaves you drained at the end of the day, convinced you've earned something. Yet when you zoom out and look at your life over the past 6 months, 12 months, maybe even longer, almost nothing has shifted. Same position, same frustration, same quiet panic that maybe you're the problem. What I'm about to show you has nothing to do with working harder. It has nothing to do with finding the right productivity system or fixing your mindset. Those things might matter eventually, but they're useless if you don't first understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. Because people who try hard and stay stuck aren't failing at effort. They're succeeding at something else entirely. Something their brain has designed to feel like progress while functioning as a perfect trap. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You've turned effort into proof of worth. Somewhere along the way, being busy became your identity. Not consciously. You didn't wake up one day and decide that exhaustion equals value. It just happened slowly, one deadline at a time, one commitment at a time, until doing became more important than what you were actually doing. Now you measure your days by how much you got through, not by what actually changed. You feel guilty on slow mornings. You feel anxious when you're not producing. Rest doesn't feel like rest anymore. It feels like falling behind. And the strangest part, you've started needing the motion itself, the planning, the reorganizing, the constant recalibration of goals. It's like your brain craves the sensation of working towards something more than it craves the thing itself. Watch what happens when someone suggests you stop for a week. Just pause, do nothing. The immediate resistance you feel isn't about losing momentum. It's about losing the anesthesia, because that's what effort has become for you, not a tool, not a means to an end. It's the thing that keeps you from sitting with the uncomfortable truth that maybe, just maybe, all this movement isn't taking you anywhere. You're not climbing a mountain. You're running on a treadmill that's clever enough to show you changing scenery. The exhaustion is real. The sweat is real. But the distance? That's the part worth questioning. Movement has replaced meaning. Action has replaced direction. You've confused being in motion with making progress. And your entire nervous system has learned to reward you for it. Every time you check off a task, you get a hit of relief. Every time you reorganize your goals, you feel like you're taking control. Every time you commit to a new system, you convince yourself this time will be different. And it works. For about 3 days, then the cycle starts again. Different tasks, different plans, same underlying pattern, same position, same you. Your brain knows this. It's just been very, very good at keeping you too busy to notice. You've been here before, not this exact moment, but this exact feeling. The one where you look at your goals from 3 months ago and realize you're still working on the same things. Different words, same core problems, different strategies, same lack of results. It's subtle at first. You tell yourself you're refining your approach, you're learning, you're adjusting based on new information. And technically that's true. But watch the pattern over 6 months, over a year, and something else emerges. You set a goal, you work toward it, you get close, or at least it feels close. Then something shifts. The goal changes slightly, or your priorities reorganize, or you discover a better method and decide to start fresh with this new framework. And just like that, you're back at the beginning. Except it doesn't feel like the beginning because you've been so busy the entire time. You've been learning, reading, planning, executing. You've been in motion, constant motion. But if someone asked you to point to one thing that fundamentally changed in your life over the past year, you'd struggle. Not because nothing happened, you've done plenty, but because somehow, despite all that activity, the core situation remains untouched. You keep getting close to something, but never quite arriving. You keep preparing for the next phase, but the next phase keeps moving, just out of reach. It's like chasing a horizon that recedes at the exact speed you're running. And the cruelest part, every time the cycle repeats, it feels different enough that you don't recognize it as a cycle. Your brain labels it as progress, new goal, new energy, new commitment. Surely this time it's real. But underneath all that novelty, the machinery is identical. Same loop, same trap, same invisible mechanism keeping everything exactly where it is. You just haven't seen it yet, not fully, not in a way that lets you name it. You've started performing productivity for an audience that doesn't exist. Check your phone right now. How many apps do you have dedicated to tracking something? Habits, tasks, goals, routines, streaks. You're generating data about your life as if documentation equals transformation, as if the act of recording effort somehow makes it more real. But something strange happens when you start measuring everything. You stop doing things because they matter. You start doing things because they look like they matter. The goal shifts from actual change to the appearance of change, from being better to looking better, even if the only person watching is you. You've built an identity around being someone who tries, someone who's always working on themselves, always optimizing, always in pursuit of the next level, and that identity feels good. It feels noble. It separates you from people who've given up, who've stopped trying, who've settled, except the identity has become the destination. You're no longer trying to get somewhere. You're trying to maintain the image of someone who's going somewhere. And your brain can't tell the difference anymore. Watch what happens when someone asks what you've been up to. You don't tell them about results. You tell them about effort, about the new system you're implementing, about the books you're reading, about how busy and committed you are. And it feels satisfying to say it out loud, doesn't it? It feels like proof. But proof of what, exactly? That you're moving? Or that you've learned to make standing still look like motion? Social media made this worse, but it didn't create it. You were already comparing yourself to invisible standards long before anyone else was watching. You were already performing progress for the ghost of who you think you should be by now. And that ghost, it's never impressed. No matter how much you do, it's never enough. So you do more, you track more, you optimize more, you perform harder. All while the thing you actually wanted, the life, the change, the breakthrough, stays exactly where it's always been, just out of reach, just past the next milestone, just beyond this current cycle of effort. It has a name. What you've been experiencing, what's been keeping you locked in place, despite all your effort, isn't randomness. It's not bad luck. It's not even poor execution. It's a specific psychological trap called the illusion of progress. And it's one of the most sophisticated forms of self-deception your brain is capable of. The illusion of progress works like this. Your brain gives you all the emotional rewards of moving forward without requiring any actual forward movement. You get that short-term relief from starting something new, the satisfaction of planning, the relief of reorganizing, the sense of control that comes from setting goals and tracking metrics. All of it feels productive. All of it feels meaningful. And that's the trap. Because your brain doesn't distinguish between preparing to change and actually changing. It doesn't separate the feeling of progress from the reality of it. As long as you're in motion, as long as you're engaged in activities that look like advancement, your nervous system treats it as mission accomplished. You feel better, so you assume you're doing better. You feel busy, so you assume you're being effective. You feel like you're working towards something, so you never stop to ask if you're actually arriving anywhere. This isn't laziness disguised as effort. It's the opposite. It's effort disguised as progress. And your brain loves it because it's safe. You get to feel like you're changing without facing any of the real risk, discomfort, or vulnerability that actual change demands. Think about it. Planning feels easier than executing. Researching feels safer than trying. Reorganizing feels more controllable than committing. So your brain quietly steers you toward the activities that simulate progress while protecting you from the messy, uncertain work of real transformation. And the brilliant part, you never feel like you're avoiding anything. You feel like you're working. You are working, just not on what actually matters. The illusion of progress lets you stay exactly where you are while feeling like you're on your way to somewhere better. It's comfort dressed up as ambition. It's stagnation that's learned to look like growth. And the longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to see it for what it is. This doesn't happen to unmotivated people. It happens to people like you, people who care, people who actually want something different for themselves. People smart enough to recognize patterns, disciplined enough to stick to routines, self-aware enough to know when something's off. That's exactly why it works so well. The illusion of progress doesn't trap people who do nothing. It traps people who do a lot. Because the trap requires activity. It requires genuine effort. It requires someone who's bought into the idea that trying harder is always the answer. You fell into this because you were taught that effort equals results, that consistency beats talent, that if you just keep showing up, keep pushing, keep optimizing, eventually everything clicks. And for a lot of things that's true, but not here, not with this, because the illusion of progress feeds on effort. The more you try, the more data it has to work with. The more systems you build, the more elaborate the trap becomes. Every new framework you implement, every new goal you set, every new tracking method you adopt, it all becomes ammunition for the illusion. More ways to feel productive, more ways to measure motion, more ways to convince yourself something's happening. Smart people fall for this because they trust their own perception. You believe what you feel. And when you feel busy, accomplished, engaged, purposeful, why would you question it? You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You're following all the advice. You're executing at a level most people never reach. The problem isn't your intelligence. It's that your intelligence has been weaponized against you. You're smart enough to build incredibly convincing illusions, detailed plans that look like roadmaps, metrics that look like progress, activity that looks like momentum. And because you're self-aware, you catch yourself sometimes. You notice the pattern, you feel the loop, but then your brain offers you a solution, a new approach, a refined system, a better strategy. And because you're motivated, you take it, you implement it, you commit to it, which just restarts the cycle with a fresh coat of paint. This isn't weakness, it's not a character flaw. It's your strengths being redirected into a structure designed to keep you spinning in place. You're always getting ready. That's the first sign. You're perpetually in preparation mode, researching the next move, building the foundation, waiting for the right moment, the right conditions, the right level of readiness. You tell yourself you're being strategic, being thorough, being smart, and maybe you are, but readiness has become a permanent state. You've been getting ready for so long that preparation has replaced execution. Second sign, you feel relief when you reorganize things. When you rewrite your goals, rebuild your system, restructure your schedule, there's this wave of calm that washes over you, like you've just solved something, like you've regained control. That relief, that's your brain rewarding you for staying in the safe zone, for choosing the illusion over the actual work. Third sign, you're terrified to stop, even for a few days. The idea of pausing, of doing nothing, of stepping back to evaluate, it triggers something close to panic. Because stopping means facing what you've been avoiding. It means seeing how little has actually changed despite all the motion, and your brain would rather keep you moving than risk that confrontation. Fourth sign, your goals keep shifting, not because you're discovering new passions or pivoting based on real feedback, but because every time you get close to something that would require genuine risk or vulnerability, the target moves. You recalibrate, you adjust your priorities. You realize this other thing is actually more important right now. And just like that, you're chasing something new before the old thing ever had to become real. Fifth sign, you can describe your process better than you can describe your results. Ask someone trapped in this what they've been up to, and they'll give you a detailed breakdown of their systems, their routines, their frameworks. They'll tell you about the podcast they're listening to, the method they're implementing, the schedule they're testing, but ask them what's actually different in their life, and the answer gets vague, fuzzy. Somewhere between "I'm working on it" and "it's a process." Last sign, you measure everything except the one thing that matters. You track your habits, your wake-up time, your task completion rate. You've got data on productivity, on consistency, on effort, but the actual outcome you wanted, that's somehow never part of the measurement, because measuring it would mean confronting whether all this activity is actually taking you there. You're not stuck because you're not trying. You're stuck because trying has become the entire point. Time isn't the thing you're losing. You think it is. You think the problem is that months are passing, years are stacking up, and you're still in the same place. That's painful, sure, but that's not the real cost. The real cost is what happens to your belief system. Every time the cycle repeats, every time you commit to something new and end up back where you started, a small piece of your self-trust erodes. You stop believing in your own ability to follow through. Not consciously, you'd never admit it out loud, but deep down in the place where decisions get made, doubt starts to settle in. You begin second-guessing everything. Should I try this? Is this the right move? What if I fail again? What if this is just another loop? The paralysis that comes from that isn't laziness. It's learned helplessness dressed up as caution. Then there's your identity. The struggle has become your personality. The effort has become your story. And the thought of actually arriving somewhere, of no longer needing to improve, feels strangely threatening. Like you'd lose the thing that makes you you, so you stay in motion. Not because it's working, because stopping would mean confronting a version of yourself you don't recognize, a version that's not striving, not optimizing, not chasing, just existing. And that feels emptier than the trap. Meanwhile, the future you've been imagining, the one you're supposedly working toward, starts to fade. Not all at once. Just a little dimmer each cycle, a little less vivid, until one day you realize you've stopped actually picturing it. You're going through the motions of pursuing something you no longer believe you'll reach, and that might be the highest cost of all. Not the wasted time, not the lack of results, but the slow, quiet death of the belief that things can actually be different, that you can actually be different. You're paying for the illusion with the very thing you need most to escape it. Hope, real hope. The kind that isn't attached to a new system or a fresh start, but to the simple, stubborn belief that change is still possible. Breaking this doesn't start with doing more. It starts with asking a different question. Not, what should I do next? But what am I actually afraid will happen if I stop performing progress? Because underneath all the planning, all the systems, all the endless motion, there's something you're protecting yourself from. Maybe it's the fear that if you stop trying, you'll have to admit you're not who you thought you were. Maybe it's the terror of discovering that without the constant effort, you don't know what your life is supposed to look like. Maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe you're just afraid of being still long enough to feel what you've been running from. Whatever it is, your brain has built this entire elaborate structure to keep you from facing it. And the structure works. It keeps you safe. It keeps you busy. It keeps you believing that eventually, with the right system, everything will click. But nothing clicks until you're willing to let the structure collapse. That doesn't mean quitting. It doesn't mean giving up on goals or abandoning ambition. It means stopping the performance. It means measuring yourself by what actually changes, not by how much effort you generated. It means sitting with the discomfort of not having a plan for 5 minutes and seeing what emerges when you're not filling every gap with productivity theater. Real progress is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to be tracked in 17 different apps. It doesn't require you to document every step so you can prove to yourself that you're trying. Real progress happens when you stop asking, am I doing enough? And start asking, is this actually taking me somewhere? When you stop optimizing your process and start questioning whether the process itself is the problem. When you're willing to admit that maybe, just maybe, the last 6 months of effort didn't move you an inch, and that's information worth having instead of information worth hiding from. The loop breaks the moment you stop rewarding yourself for effort and start demanding evidence of change. Not someday, not in the grand vision, right now, in the small, undeniable ways that don't require explanation or justification. You'll know you're out when trying stops feeling like an identity and starts feeling like a tool again. When motion stops being the goal and becomes just one possible path. When you can pause without panic, stop without guilt, and redirect without needing to rebuild your entire sense of self. You were never stuck because you weren't trying hard enough. You were stuck because trying became the destination, because effort turned into evidence, because your brain found a way to keep you safe by keeping you busy. And now you know. You can't unknow this. Every time you catch yourself reorganizing instead of executing, every time you feel that relief from starting something new, every time you measure motion instead of outcome, you'll recognize it. You'll see the loop forming before you're fully inside it. That awareness alone won't fix everything, but it's the crack in the structure, the first real break in a pattern that's kept you spinning for longer than you want to admit. Maybe all that effort was just your brain's way of protecting you from something scarier than failure, actual change. If this put words to something you felt but could never explain, drop a comment. Tell me which part hit different. And if you know someone caught in this exact loop, send this to them. Sometimes we can't see our own patterns until someone else names them. Hit subscribe if you want more of this. Not motivation, not hacks. Just the uncomfortable truths that actually shift things, because discomfort might be the first honest thing you've felt in months.